Hey guys, on YouTube, Facebook, Nathan Williams here. Some of you may know me as one of the founders of Oregon Paranormal Adventures, but I'm not here to talk about that today. Today, I'm here to talk about the incoming TikTok ban and why I think it's pointless. One, it was a hidden ban that was hidden inside a must-pass legislation. God only knows how long ago. Okay, one, that's a cheap move to do so. That's like, remember back in the 90s and the 80s and the 70s when we would want something for Christmas and we would see a sales ad for it in the newspaper or magazine or whatever, and we would stick it into our parents' reading materials so that they would see that and get it for Christmas. That's basically how the TikTok ban was placed in the legislation. It was hidden in there, and they basically saw it and was like, oh, we're not going to take 2 seconds to look at this. We're just going to automatically sign it. Okay, there's a couple of problems with doing that. One, you don't know what you're signing. You're not reading what you're signing. You're just signing it. There's a problem with that. You could be signing something that you have no idea what it is. It could be, you could have signed something that would have been a worse threat to national security than TikTok is. And really, TikTok being a threat to national security? Come on, guys. Let's get real here. TikTok is not a threat to national security. What? Okay, so the videos that I see on there of cats doing funny things like getting scared by a cucumber is a threat to national security? Really? That's laughable, really. It is. Okay, here's another good point that I'm going to make. Content creators. You know that TikTok actually pays people to create content for their app. So by banning TikTok in the United States, you are effectively saying, well, we know you work for this company as a content creator, but we're going to take your job away because we don't think it's safe. There's a lot of jobs out there that are not safe. What? Are you going to ban them next to? McDonald's. That isn't safe. In fact, McDonald's earlier this year or last year, can't remember which, actually had to take their quarter pounders and a number of other things off the menu because of an E. coli outbreak. So what? Are you going to shut down McDonald's too because of an E. coli outbreak? Really? The U.S. government is so focused on keeping us safe, but they're not taking into consideration the stuff that we do as our livelihoods, you know? Yeah, TikTok is mainly a scrolling app where people can just scroll, watch, like videos, and occasionally create videos. Or all the time create videos, and most of them, a lot of them on TikTok, are using TikTok as a job. And like I just said, you are taking that job away from people. So what? Are you going to go after the mill jobs next? Because a mill job is dangerous. You guys, like I said, you guys are focused on keeping us completely safe, but you're not taking into consideration the consequences of just wiping out an app just like that. You're basically... It's basically like getting fired from a job. You go from making X amount of dollars every week or every 2 weeks or every month or however you're paid to making zero. Then you have to actually go out and look for a job when you may not be physically capable of doing so. And I know there's people out there who are not physically or mentally capable of doing so. And the only thing that they can do is create content for TikTok because of their limitations. But here's the thing. Now that the U.S. government has decided that TikTok is bad for us, that they're going to ban it. There's a lot of other stuff out there that is bad for us that we enjoy, I could go on all day about this, but unfortunately, I don't have the time nor the patience to go down the list of things. Cigarettes are bad for us. What? Is the U.S. government going to ban that next? No, they are not. You know why? Because they're making money off of it. The government is only banning things that it's not profiting from. I heard a rumor quite recently that video games were going to get banned. Why? Video games have been around for a very long time, and the gaming industry is one of the highest profiting industries in the United States and possibly elsewhere. There's gaming companies that aren't US based, PlayStation, for example. That's based in Japan. What? Is PlayStation going to get banned because it's based in Japan? They seem so focused on... The US government seems so focused on keeping us safe that they're not taking into consideration the consequences of their actions. Yes, banning TikTok. Cool. Okay, you guys think it's a national security threat. Okay, at what point did TikTok become a national security threat? And it's been around for quite some time. I don't know exactly how long it's been around because I came into TikTok very late in the game. I came into TikTok, I want to say 2019, I think. Yeah, that's when I first came into TikTok. And at that point, I wasn't really active on TikTok. I was just watching the videos. I would make a video every once in a while. But the thing is it was mainly people just lip syncing from their favorite movies. But now that TikTok has moved on to First Amendment audits, which I see a lot of those on TikTok. Cat videos, dog videos, travel videos, food videos, recipe videos even. People on TikTok actually make money off of cooking food and giving out recipes. You're taking away a livelihood is what you're doing effectively. You're basically saying, oh, well, this is a threat to national security. That's your only argument, really? Okay, going off of that logic, there are things out there that are worse threats to national security. Apple has a lawsuit going right now that because of Siri. Okay, is iPhone going to start getting banned in the United States? They think that we're being spied on by our cell phones. What, are you guys going to force us to downgrade to basic phones, flip phones again? The U.S. government is focused solely on the TikTok ban. They are turning a blind eye to a lot of other problems. There's fires going on in LA right now, and I have no idea if they're under control or aren't under control. I haven't heard anything as of late on them. But do not consider this as hate speech. Consider this video as a means to wake up America. This is what we are facing right now. we're facing with the U.S. government, who I believe wants to censor us. I do not appreciate being censored myself. I will say whatever I want, when I want. No, I'm not going to go out and make threats. No, I'm not going to do that, because that is illegal. I will say what I want in a legal capacity. First Amendment rights give us the freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of press. And truthfully, I believe that our First Amendment rights are being trampled on right now because of the fact that the U.S. government is trying to ban TikTok from the United States. So what? If you go to another country, you can use TikTok? That kind of contradicts the ban. If you're going to ban something, you need to make it a worldwide ban, not just a nationwide ban. You know, there are things that are banned in other countries that aren't banned in the United States. It doesn't make sense. Why would you ban something in another country and then make it completely okay to have in another country? That's like saying, oh, well, here in the United States, you can't eat hot dogs because they're bad for you. But if you go over to England, you can eat hot dogs all you want. Really? Is that... That doesn't make any sense, does it? No, it doesn't. No, my belief is it's just more control. We're adults. We should be allowed to make our own choices and choose what we do and how we make our living. Unfortunately, with the TikTok ban, now that the ban is most likely going to be passed on January 19th, that eliminates a lot of people's jobs. And by the way, did they honestly think that we were going to just crawl back to other social media apps? How do you know that people weren't already utilizing those social media apps anyway? Apps like Facebook, Instagram, MySpace. Well, nobody uses MySpace anymore, I don't think. Snapchat. There's a handful of other social media apps out there that people use. YouTube. There's another one. YouTube has scrolling. You know, YouTube isn't a threat to national security either. But they think that TikTok is, simply because it was created by the Chinese, which is another point I'm making. They think that just because it was created by the Chinese that it's a threat to national security and it collects our data. Really? You know what? The internet collects our data every day. What? Are you going to say that we can't visit certain sites because they weren't U.S. based? That honestly is ridiculous. I can tell you that right now. People have a right to have an opinion about something. Taking away our right to use TikTok is very unconstitutional. It tramples on the First Amendment rights of every American in the U.S. Not everybody uses TikTok. I get it. That's your personal preference. Fine. But by the same token, the U.S. government is also highly hypocritical in banning TikTok, since that was the main used app during the last 2 elections. President Joe Biden used TikTok during his campaign. President Donald Trump used TikTok during his campaign. Now, you're taking away the ability to do that. You may be able to take away an app, but you're never going to be able to stop people from creating content on other platforms. And if the US government sees this video and be like, "Oh, really? We can take away this, we can take away that, we can take away anything we want and force you to live without it." That just proves that the US government is very petty. The US government is trying to control us. Okay. The US government can control us to a degree. They can tell us what we're legally allowed to do and what we're legally not allowed to do as long as it makes sense. But what they can't do is take away our freedom of speech. The freedom of speech was in the Constitution, which guess what the Constitution is? The Declaration of Independence. Boy, I bet you guys haven't heard that one in a long time. Yes, the Declaration of Independence was signed in 1776 and basically gave the Americans the freedom to do what they wanted as long as it was legal. You know, I'm not saying go out there and kill somebody just because you feel like doing it. No, don't do that, because that is in fact illegal, and that's crossing a whole bunch of other lines. But what I am saying, you can hold a peaceful protest downtown if you like. You can express your opinions about anything. Now, while I say you can express your opinions about anything, I don't mean actually go out and break the law by expressing your opinions. No. Don't ever do that. Do not engage in illegal activities while expressing your opinions. That is the one thing I do not condone. Now, a lot of other people are saying, well, the TikTok ban violates people's freedom of speech. Yes and no. Yes and no, it does. You know, the TikTok ban is not just about freedom of speech. It's an entertainment app. It's like YouTube, only the videos are considerably shorter. You know, I've seen videos on YouTube lasting 10 or more hours. Can't do that on TikTok unless you go live, which I think even live has a limit on how long you can go for. Mm-hmm. But as far as like expressing your opinion, TikTok is not, my opinion is TikTok is not a threat to national security. It's a simple app where people go to scroll through videos. What, are you going to ban every video scrolling and video viewing app out there and website? You know, YouTube has been around since 2005 and has never faced scrutiny. Well, maybe it has, maybe it hasn't. I don't know. I've never heard of anything, but I've never heard of anything being banned on YouTube. Yes, there are videos on YouTube that are not viewable in certain countries, but that's because the user of the channel chose to make it that way. Now, TikTok could go along the same ways. If there's something that they don't believe would be safe for the country to view, then I personally think that they should have safeguards in place to ensure that the viewer doesn't view that video. Terms and conditions. TikTok should have terms and conditions. If you hit accept, then you are willingly accepting those terms and conditions. And if collecting data is amongst those terms and conditions, then yes, there's nothing the U.S. government could do about that. Truthfully. And I personally think that there's better ways to go about this than just flat out banning the app. You know, some people enjoy it. There are people out there that enjoy just scroll. There's people who make money off of TikTok. There's people who create content just for the hell of it. I'm one of them. I create content on TikTok and YouTube and Facebook just for the hell of it. But that's basically what my opinions are on the app. To the US government, I say, focus your energies on bigger things that are going on out in the world and not just on a TikTok ban. Because there are worse things out there than TikTok. Trust me, I know. I've seen them. The LA fires, the Russia-Ukraine war. Focus your energy on that. Not on banning an app that only 170 million Americans use. You know, there's more Americans in the U.S. than 170 million. I can tell you that right now. But yes, that is my opinion on the TikTok ban, and I hope you all enjoy and find it highly educational.